Hi, welcome to week 4 of my midweek. Week 4? Part 4? The 4th installment. I could get used to this. It could become quite a regular feature of my photography channel because I do get out with the camera and I don't always vlog. And this is the case this last week. I've had quite a lot of fun with my camera. I've done a trip down to Hythe. I've been back to Dover, to the White Cliffs. And I've been in Folkestone twice, so a morning ramble or walk, as well as out with Georgia. So I've got quite a batch of pictures behind me here, which I feel I'd like to talk you through, and my thoughts on those images, why I took them, etc., etc. Let's do it. So yeah, the first thing I did was I was actually vlogging on Saturday, and you'll see that video this Saturday. But as is always the case when you're doing a vlog, you know, if you're doing a YouTube video, you don't just take the pictures that you're doing in the video, if that makes sense. So, you know, here's a shot I'm taking, and I'm setting these settings, and clack, 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 and I'll take the shot that goes on the video. But actually, as I'm walking around, I will always see another site or another image, and I'll take a picture of that. Which leads me back to a comment that someone left the other day, basically saying, you know, those two trees you took the picture of, you know, had them in the autumn video I did. Behind you were some fallen trees, and that would have made a great picture. And so that's why I've kind of including shots that I could have done in the video into my midweek roll, because sometimes I'll be watching my videos back, watching myself say, I'm taking this shot, that shot, the other shot, and then viewing the video and thinking, Tudor, just look behind you. There's an even better shot. Why don't you take that shot instead? Telling myself, right? So, I mean, that's a good example of don't just assume that the shot you're taking is the best shot. Actually, continually look around. You know, is there something else I should be taking a picture of? Right, we'll get into this. So it was Saturday morning, and, you know, as I always do when I'm going out to do photography, I'll just make sure that everything's working and the settings are all working. And it was a misty morning, so I took a shot of the cricket field outside the back of the house. But it's very abstract, and I like it, because you can just about make out the cricket pavilion in the background. But yeah, it's all the mist on the windows, or condensation. It was on the outside, so I'm quite pleased it wasn't on the inside. So I took the shot, because why not, right? So then I got myself down to the Hythe beachfront. I've got quite a few shots here, mostly of fishermen. Just moving some windows here. But I saw the trawler and I thought, oh yeah, you can capture a little boat. It's a nice one, blue background, greeny blue sea. And I'm currently listening to an audiobook of Dr. Sin by Richard Thorndike, because I did that other video about St. Clement's Church, which was used in the Disney film. And it's kind of all the smuggling and the swashbuckling that happened in Dymchurch and Romney Marsh, and Hythe is all part of that. So it's nice visualising the sea and imagining these kind of galleons and all of that kind of stuff. Anyway, got a little fishing boat here. But then as I panned round to the left, there's all these old boys doing their fishing. And I thought, you know, kudos to you, mate, because that's a passion, isn't it? That's like someone's, whether it's their hobby or you know, they're doing it because they're capturing fish to survive. Maybe they're going to feed themselves their fish. But the guy's got all this kit. He's got kind of a gazebo-y tent thing going on. I thought, yeah, I like that. I like what you're doing. So that's one of the guys. Same guy here. I kind of zoomed in just to capture his expression more than anything. I like capturing that kind of stuff. People doing, you know, their passions. Then I got this guy. Now I might have to see how I can do this on screen, but I could see he was going to cast the rod or cast the fly. I don't cast the reel. So we've got 3 shots. If I do them quick succession, 1, 2, 3. He's casting the rod back again. Yeah, just catch it in action. Which one is the one that is the best picture? Probably the one where he's really pulling it through like that. And then another image. I think what caught me here was the way that the 2 rods are giving me 2 lines, and it's giving me an angle, and he stood in the middle. And then I've got the sailing ship on the left and the ferry in the middle. So passing the trawler, I'm no wildlife photographer, I will admit that, but I do like capturing birds, capturing squirrels, all that kind of stuff. There's a sense of what's the word I'm looking for? Privilege, that we can see the creatures we share this planet with. And I've always kind of taken on board that people say, if you're taking pictures of birds, make sure the eye is crystal clear. The rest of it all falls into place, because we as humans look for eyes. That's something to do with the face, isn't it? Self-preservation. But this seagull's, I'll call them a seagull, could be a herring gull. Rachel will correct me if she's watching. Is eating a skate. Maybe it was cast away by the fishermen because it was too small. They reel it in. Nah, I'm not going to eat that. Cast it aside or throw it back in. But they're already, maybe it came off the trawler and he's so far from the sea, we're talking 100 metres that he's pulled his boat up. He's not going to walk back down to it's probably dead in the bucket anyway. So he's thrown it to one side and the seagull's capturing it. But I like that. So I'd finished my video, my vlogging. I'm heading back to the car and I passed this, and it's nothing in particular, but it was the lines that got me. The vertical and horizontal lines. I thought there was something artistic there going on. So there I am taking pictures of people's houses. And the next one along, there's someone preparing to go out and they're like looking at me. Then I went up to the White Cliffs of Dover. I was finishing my vlogging for the Saturday. Again, you'll see it on this Saturday. I thought I'll just have a little stroll around the visitor centre, get myself a coffee. They have a bookstall, which is like you just throw in a couple of pounds and you can take a few books. But this is the one that caught me, because National Geographic is well known, isn't it, for its photography, and they'll always put stunning images on their front covers. And I just thought, yeah, all that yellow, I could have composed it better. I was just stood over it with my camera, but all the yellow and then all those fabulous images, is that what National Geographic has come to? Being donated in a cardboard box. So yeah, walking down, obligatory shot of the leaves and the pathway. What got me was that it's October now. It was 18 degrees that day. Still no hint of yellow. There's a couple of yellow leaves on the ground, but everything is still lush and green. And then a couple of people's shots. I was stood up by the visitor centre looking out at the ferry, and there are these 2 trees with a bench in the middle. And I caught these 2 girls just looking out to sea. Actually, this is the second shot. The next one you'll see is the first shot. And that's the reason I took the shot, and it's this picture. I love the fact that she's got this big kind of The Matrix coat on, very gothic. And actually, as I was preparing to take the shot, both of them were sat on the bench facing, and then the girl on the left there got up to take her coat off. But as is always the case with me, street photography, I've missed the opportunity. I would have preferred to have them both looking out, but there you go. Yeah, quite nice. And then I turned to look at the visitor centre. I caught the girl with red hair. I think girls with red hair, when you're doing street photography, stand out. Especially if you do a colour splash and you turn everything black and white like this, and you just make the hair pop. It looks quite good. So yeah, just caught, back to colour. I just caught them. She's pointing. I thought, yeah, that's a good one. Then I went down to Folkestone, and it was just, another morning stroll. But there was some activity going on. So I thought, right place, right time. First of all, I took a pano of the harbour because it's the sky. I love the skies that we get in Kent, especially over the English Channel. And I don't know if it's a meteorological thing where there are currents and air currents and you get fluffy clouds and wispy clouds and then, like groups of clouds here. But you always seem to get the horizon clear, unless you're having a sunrise, in which case there's always cloud, isn't it, if you're doing the sunrise. But I liked the blues and the hues and the darkness of the clouds, and the tide was in, so it was great. So walking through the fish market into the tunnel, we got this burger van, which I hadn't noticed before, but maybe I hadn't noticed because it was always, every time I see it, the hatch is up and the guy is serving. And I thought, sausage and burger company, I've not seen that before. So it's made me decide that I need to go there and try it out. But it looks like one of those old Citroen vans. But I think it's actually a static display or a trailer made to look like, because the wheels aren't real. And then I thought, well, that is really peculiar because it's obviously a mile marker for bicycle route 2. So if you're doing a coastal route from, I don't know, Folkestone or Dover, and you're going a certain direction, you've got the markers to let you know. But it's propped up a foot in height, maybe, in the middle of the footpath. I'm thinking someone's going to trip over that. Then a little further down, the HM Coast Guard were doing some stuff, and it was a case of, are they training? What's going on? And then this ambulance came by. I thought there must have been an incident. I'll capture a couple of shots, see if I can do some reportage photography. So I was stood on the rail bridge when I caught this shot. So I thought, I'll walk down, we'll see what's there. And just on the edge, I caught the shot of them filling in their books. Maybe they're doing their reports. And it's a strange one, this, because I've got a trailing edge on the right of the brick wall, and it's blurred. And it really gave me a sense of satisfaction because I've got the depth of field right. I'm thinking, yeah, this is beginning to work for me. I'm really getting the grips of this. Turns out there was a guy sat in the second seat along of this vehicle. He had a blanket on and a hot mug of tea. So they'd obviously rescued him, maybe just from the harbour, I don't know. But there was also a HM Coast Guard helicopter flying around. So maybe, with the ambulance and everything, that's what it was. So that was that. And then actually last night, I was out with Georgia. She said, Grandpa, can we do some silhouette photography? Because she's got part of her A-level is to create kind of a collage. So she can take photographs over a period of time, but then the teacher wants them to create composites of all the image and to include silhouettes of people in the collage. So we went out. I said the best thing to do is try and find some bright backlit areas, either a shop or if we're, the sun is setting and we've got bright sun and someone walks in front of us, they will be silhouetted. So I only took 1 or 2 shots. Georgia was really focused on the silhouetting. She was just snap, 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 snap. And we were looking at settings, making sure things were right. I think she got some really good shots. And I was actually posing for her as well. But while we walked from the top of the high street, down the old high street, and then back up again, of course, I caught sight of quite a few things. Like Christmas. Is it too early for Christmas? Shop front, already showing its Christmas wares. I suppose make some sales while you can. But I had to capture it. So then, walking down Rendezvous Street, I saw this and I thought, yeah, I like that. Still blue hour. I'm beginning to get the lights of the buildings, which contrast with the blueness of the sky. And the nice thing about Folkestone is that there are a lot of these little cobbled streets which are closed off to the driving public, no cars, during the course of the day. But after 6 p.m. they open the gates, and you know, if you're going to a meal at the Pullman, you can bring your car up and park in any of these kind of side streets where there is parking space. So in order to make it congenial, is that a good word, for the general public, rather than just have tarmac with curbs, they've actually put all these cobblestones and stuff in, and it brings back a sense of an older time, a previous time. And actually, looking at the building, it may well be an old Tudor building that has survived all the, the ages. Perhaps a little dark, but I was just snapping. So I thought, well, that's nice. I like that. So underneath Studio 6 is Lubin's Pizzeria, and it took me straight back to my Edward Hopper video, where I'm on the outside looking in. I do love this kind of photography. The ambience of the place, the light, it always seems to be an orange or yellow hue that when you're photographing inside a building from outside. And the people are totally oblivious to me. The thing with Edward Hopper is that his paintings always depicted a sense of loneliness or isolation. And I can never seem to capture that when I take a photograph inside a building, because people are actually having a jolly time, aren't they? What I need is one solitary person, just sitting there moping. Then it becomes Edward Hopper. It's the isolation and the loneliness that he depicts in his in his paintings. But nonetheless, I love the light, and I love the lighting for that. So then, heading down the road, if you turn left after that red post, you go down the old high street. I've got the two old ladies coming up. Two old ladies, an old lady and a middle-aged lady. Or maybe a young lady. Who knows? But it's the colours. I've got a sense of blue hue in the background. The red post, the wash of light on the pavement. It's illuminating the old woman who's looking right at me, which is great. The other woman's blurred. Maybe I had a slow shutter speed going on. But I still capture the sense of motion. And yeah, the colours I like for this one. Rather nice. Turn down the old high street, and, George is like, Grandpa, you do like to take pictures of random stuff, don't you? And I thought it was just the neon, the red neon shining at me. Workshop. Yeah, I like that. So I'm outside, obviously, photographing in. So the next three shots are the old high street. I will always try and capture this. And this is because whenever I take a shot of this, it's usually a different time than the last time I took the shot. So this is blue hour. Still got some people walking about, milling about, blue sky, but the light is starting to wash out of the shops. The shops are shut. We're talking 6 p.m. Sunsets in another half hour. Well, blue hour, so 20 minutes. But the illumination of the lights coming down, I like this. And we had passed a shop at the top of the old high street, and it had prints, photographed prints by Georgiana Baker, I think, or Georgina Baker. So obviously a local photographer. If you ever catch this, then drop me a comment. But one of her images was displayed there. And Georgie said, I've taken that picture. And I said, I have too. And many people have. But what Georgina Baker's done is she's turned it into a print, and she's selling it in a shop. And someone will buy that print so that they can take it home and always have a visual constant reminder maybe on their wall in her office or something. And that's what I don't do. I don't print, and I don't sell I don't sell prints, but maybe I ought to. And I said to Georgie, you could do that. You're putting yourself through A-levels, you've got your part-time job, you're saving for a car. You take photos. Why don't we get some printed and we can take them round to the shops, and the shopkeeper can take 20% of the sales, and you can sell it for 100 quid, 80 quid. No, Grandpa, don't want to do that. Bit like me. So anyway, we took that shot. And then I kind of moved over to the side so that I could get more of the shop called Steep Street, which I think is a coffee shop. And it's got a library, so you can grab a book off the shelf and read while you're having your coffee. I like these independent shops all the way down. The old high street's filled with independent shops, pretty much like Hythe, actually. So, yeah. And then a portrait one, because the guy was walking down. I thought, yeah, I'll get that. Because now I'm getting more greens and blues in the picture, even though I've got the orange washes of the lights coming down. Yeah, quite pleased with that. So we then turned and walked back up the road. We heard an argument going on. So because she's doing criminology as one of her A-level subjects, we got onto the subject of criminals. What makes a criminal? Is it nature or nurture? All of that kind of stuff. Conversations we have. Amazing. But we got on the subject of Jack the Ripper. And lo and behold, I saw this old, obviously not Victorian, but it made me think of a Victorian lamp. And we're talking about Jack the Ripper at this moment in time. I thought, I love that. Orange lamp. Casting an orange on the wall. Black shadow behind the lamp, but a hint of blue. How arty is that? That would make an album cover, from the 70s or something. What were they called? Hypnosis, that used to do all the album covers for the big artists. I bet they would have lapped that up. He says, wishing. So, walking up, I had the whole theme of Dickensian or Victorian in London in 1888. And I saw the alleyway going up again with a replica Victorian lamp. But it was the Super Pizza. I mean, I'm walking up, I'm going to Georgia. Super Pizza! Like super. And she's laughing like, Grandpa, you see such. But I thought, yeah, look at the light. It's the light we've got going on the pavement. That's cast from that bulb. That's such a bright bulb. It's highlighting the Super Pizza. It's highlighting the wall on the other side. You can see it going up the railing. Light, all from that one. I'm thinking I might have cropped it so that I could lose the blue triangle of sky. But then to make it even with the cobblestones as well, I just left it as is. I thought that's nice. George Lane. Then I spied Hummingbird Records. And I thought, what is that? Another Victorian lamp. But it's like Folkestone Heritage, not just music heritage here. Folkestone Heritage have put all these little blue plaques all around Folkestone to commemorate kind of historical remembrances of Folkestone. So you'll go past an old shop and it'll have something like 1856, so-and-so cobblers had a shop here. 1912. Confectionery so-and-so had a shop here, and it's now turned into a coffee shop or a bookshop or something. But so they've got all these little blue plaques, and I thought, what's Hummingbirds? I've never heard of Hummingbird Records. You think of EMI and Polydor and Capitol Records. I then did some research when I got home, and Hummingbird Records was actually a music shop. So you could buy your LPs and cassettes and your compact discs, as that image shows. I grabbed that off the internet, a bit of Google search. So going back to the original shot, below this lamp would have been Hummingbird Records. We then walked back up. We're now focusing on her silhouette images because it's now dark, and we're finding all the places where she can take the picture. And I saw the boutique. I love taking a picture of this boutique. I'll tell you about my issues one day, but not for today. But I think it's the reflections, so we've got the mannequins, you've got the cars reflecting, got all the lights, and that shop, above all others for me, lends itself to that kind of reflective night photography, because what it displays in its window is simplicity rather than a clutter of stuff. But then you can see more of the reflections because of the simplicity of the window display. That's my reasoning. I saw some leaves. It was like autumn's come. We're just walking up and I'm seeing them, and the wind was blowing and they're moving all these little leaves. What are they? Are they birch leaves? Silver birch tree, is it? Something up the path. They look like birch leaves, birch tree leaves. Scattered like a fortune teller telling her tea leaves. What can you read in that? Can you see something? So we're nearly finished our photo shoot, and I look up the hill and I'm taking 2 shots of windows. Now I love when a block of flats or a skyscraper is all in darkness, but there's just 1, maybe 2 windows that are illuminated. Because I look up and I think, what's the story here? And it also makes me think of things like the crime series, the things like The Persuaders, Randall and Hopkirk, maybe even The Sweeney, but certainly those 60s programs that were on television. And when the camera pans to a new scene, so like the protagonist is like, we really need to go and check this out. And then it pans to a night scene, and you'll have this kind of incidental music like this. And it's basically telling you they're at the right location, the offender or the perpetrator is in that building, and the camera's zoomed into it, and here's the music to prove it. So I look up at these kind of things, and that's what's going through my brain. Like that. And then another one. But I think what this was, Georgia said, Dad, Grandpa, you can actually see the fire exit through the window there. It's so bright. And then finally, I saw this, an ATM under a green orb lamp. I thought, that's unusual. Normally it's orange or white, but that one's green. And I captured this because, you know what, folks, we're moving into a cashless society. Very often who carries cash these days? And, I carry cash because I want to, like if I go out for a meal or something, I want to give the waiter or waitress a cash tip. Because if it goes on the card reader and it goes to the company and they have to distribute, I'd rather give cash. But I captured this because, to me, that might not even be there much longer. We hear about the banks that are closing and everything like that. Branches are closing down in towns. How long before ATMs disappear? We'll use our phones and our pin and chip and all that kind of stuff. Sign of the times. If you're a Christian, then it's end times, isn't it? Revelation. Sign of the beast. When you'll have the mark of the beast to pay for all... Anyway, let's not go into that. Christian theology. So there you go. That was my midweek roll number 4, another session. As I say at the beginning, I'm kind of enjoying this. It's nice to just ramble and talk through the images that I've taken for one reason or another. Because they're always different and eclectic. I'm not focusing just on a landscape or street photography or action. I'll try and capture everything. So I'm out with my camera and I'll see a scene and I'll think, shutter priority, 60th of a second, click. I'll see a landscape. I'll go, aperture priority, F11. Make sure I've got enough light with ISO. Might need to put it on auto ISO. Let's make a pano out of this. Click, click, click. It's having the, I want to say experience. I've been at it 4 years now. So, it's all up there, and I'm beginning to think like a photographer. What I need to now think about is my composition. Don't just accept that the shot in front of you is the shot you're going to take. Take the shot, but then before you walk off, have a quick look around. See if there was something that you missed. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Perhaps give it a thumbs up, and watch out for Saturday's video, because it will be more in depth of what was going on, of the shots I took at the beginning of this video. Bye for now.